Oftentimes it is because your systems are not detailed enough, that don't go into enough specificity for someone who is not well trained on the task to execute on the task. I am notorious for the fact that I don't always follow systems. And that's probably my most guilty thing of why I don't follow systems as much as I should, or don't have as many systems as I always should, because many times I'm just like, it's just faster for me to do it. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Cheer Biz Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Cotton, and today we are talking about why your systems might not be working. Now, before we get into the episode, please head on over to Cheer Gym Owners on Facebook and All-Star Cheer Coaches and Owners to join those groups. If you are a coach or a coach and an owner, we have amazing discussions going on in there, all sorts of free resources just for you to help you grow your gym. If you're interested in learning more about the Academy and what it means to become an Academy member, head on over to nextgenowners.com, where you can learn what it takes to join the Academy, as well as get signed up to be on the list to come to one of our Cheer Biz accelerators, which are going to be events held in our gyms, absolutely amazing events where we're going to show you what we do in our gyms. We're going to dive into some tactics and strategies that can help you grow your facilities, and you can learn from the owners of NextGen right in our own buildings. Now, let's get into the episode. So I wanted to talk about this because I am notorious for the fact that I don't always follow systems. Danielle would tell you that I never follow systems, and that's not true. I just don't always follow them. And there's some reasons why. I struggle with not having autonomy. I also am very creatively minded. So oftentimes I will encounter a difficulty or a flaw in a system, and then I will pivot and do it my own way. I'll change it, I'll modify it. And or if systems are complicated, I sometimes do not fully execute on them. So I struggle with systems myself, which I believe makes me uniquely an expert to talk about why your systems might be failing. And we're going to dive into, in my opinion, the top 5 reasons why your systems might not be working within your gym. Now, systems are something that people talk about all the time. In fact, everyone is always out there marketing that they have the secret sauce, the absolute system to increase your freedom and increase your time and change your life. And all you need is this done for you system, and it's going to make life perfect. And what I've found in the past is that that's just generally not fully accurate. Some people, it's complete nonsense, and some people have a really good system that is going to provide some opportunity for you, but not every system works for every person or every business or every facility. A system is a broad word for a number of solutions. So, the number one reason a system may not be working is a system is only as good as the people who are using it. Meaning, if you build a system that is very complex, it may work fantastic. Okay, I have some systems that I use within my companies that I can use. They are systems. They are so complicated that it would take an excessive, inordinate amount of time to train someone else on how to understand the system that I follow. There is a system, the system that I follow to execute on that task. Additionally, there are all sorts of systems that exist in the world that are correct. They work very well, but they are so in-depth and labor intensive that the average person cannot execute on them. So your system is only as good as the people who are executing on it. Now you have 2 options there. 1 is to simplify the system. 2 is to get better people. 3, I said 2, you really have 3 options. 3 is train the people you have to understand the system. For instance, if you were to take a brand new cheer gym with brand new owners and brand new coaches, and you were to say, congratulations, I've signed you up for iClass Pro. Here you go. Run your gym with iClass Pro, and gave them nothing else. the individual getting that class management software would likely struggle. They would likely hate it. They would say, this thing doesn't work. It's a mess. This is stupid. And they would not like it at all. And that is because it is a system that absolutely works in the cheerleading and gymnastics and swim and all those industries. It absolutely does work and works very, very well. But if you have no idea how to use it, the system is only as good as the person trying to execute on the system. And so you either have to learn or hire someone else, or like those are your options. Now, luckily, people like iClass Pro have an onboarding process and they teach you and they have, support and all those things so you can learn. But in order to execute on that system, you have to have a basis of knowledge. And oftentimes people think that things are clear when they are actually not, which brings me to my number 2 reason why your systems might be failing, which is they are not clear enough. There are a number of examples for how this works. Well, the best example that I've seen done kind of publicly is the old peanut butter and jelly exercise. And it is you tell a group of people, write directions of how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and be as specific as you can. And they write it down. And what inevitably happens, you grab some of them and it says, take bread and place peanut butter on 2 sides of the bread. Well, then you as a demonstrator just pick up the loaf of bread, because they didn't say take 2 slices of bread, and you put peanut butter on 2 different sides of the loaf of bread and say, there, I followed the directions, didn't I? Right? So you're making certain assumptions, which is inevitable. And as you build your business, you're going to be able to make more and more assumptions based off of the people who are reading the systems. But oftentimes it is because your systems are not detailed enough, that don't go into enough specificity for someone who is not well trained on the task to execute on the task. And when things lack specificity, they leave room for improvisation. And when we have improvisation, we oftentimes see a variety of failures in the system. And the system then doesn't work. And people say, this is stupid. We shouldn't do it this way. And oftentimes you should do it that way. The system actually could work and would be an improvement, but you need to be more specific so your people understand how to execute on that system. Number 3 is you're systemizing the wrong things. So I know gym owners who will spend hours systemizing how to take out the garbage and how to clean the bathrooms and how to do a variety of different things that are very rudimentary in nature. Am I saying you shouldn't systemize those things? No, I'm not. I just don't think they're as important as other things to be systemized in your business. Your hiring and onboarding process should be 100% systemized. Your enrollment and registration and upgrade and class management should be incredibly systemized. Your waiver process should be very systemized. Your process from arrival and check-in for class to attending class to exiting class should be very systemized. The way you conduct your programming and your leveling up of athletes should be very systemized. And oftentimes we end up focusing on things that don't really need a system to be executed to at least 80% of success. And we ignore the bigger, more complicated things. Why? Because they're difficult. And we ignore those things and building the systems around them that will allow more people to execute on them because they're more complicated. So if you've ever been someone who has said, it's just easier for me to do it, then you are a person who is in number 3 for sure, because you could systemize that thing. You just have not. You are focusing on systemizing other things because it is easier for you to not systemize that thing and for you to just take care of it. The problem being is you are going to run out of capacity at some point. And I am talking to you as a purveyor of this very statement. I am guilty of this myself on numerous occasions, to include 30 minutes ago, practically, like to include at dream camps. There are certain things where I'm like, it's just easier for me to do it. And it's not that it can't be systemized. It's that I don't want to take the time to build the system. And that's probably my most guilty thing of why I don't follow systems as much as I should, or don't have as many systems as I always should, because many times I'm just like, it's just faster for me to do it. It's just easier. And it's more that I don't want to dive into all the complexity of what it takes for someone to execute on that thing, because to really, really do it well, I'm going to have to make a very long system, and I'm going to have to train people very, very thoroughly. Your number 4 is your systems are failing because you haven't trained your people appropriately. I know this sounds a lot like number 1, but it's not exactly the same thing. You haven't trained your people appropriately in not only the execution of the system, but the process to evolve the system. Your staff need to have the ability to find holes and add to the system and improve the system and make it better. And if you don't do that, if you don't give them some control and some buy-in and some ability to say, you know what, this thing doesn't work this way anymore, we should change that, then you are setting your staff up and your system up to fail. You've got to allow your people to make adjustments, and you've got to train your people correctly. Just handing someone a piece of paper and saying, here is the system for running class, is not training. And you additionally need to follow on and reinforce the systems. This is another thing that I'm not great at. And I have a couple of employees that really need me to continually check in on them and make sure that they're following the systems, because they will start to modify and adjust the system to fit kind of what they like, but they don't do it in the correct way. And before you know it, they end up not following the system at all. And now things are getting missed and balls are getting dropped. So you've got to make sure that you're training your people appropriately. And when they make modifications, you're stress testing those things and making sure that those modifications actually work and improve the system versus making it work. It's just really, really incredibly important for you to be doing. My last one, my number 5, is you have the wrong people creating the systems. I talk to so many owners who believe that they should be the person creating every single system in the gym, and then they don't create systems because they don't have time. But the reality is that you should not be the only person creating systems. You should be delegating this to your staff, which means you have to train them on how to write systems correctly. But if they are the person who is the expert in that thing, then that person should be the person writing the system. Our best example of this right now is our front desk program. Our front desk, Carrie, is amazing. She absolutely crushes it. And there are many things she does that I can't do as well as her. If I were to go and write front desk systems, they would be relatively jacked up in comparison to if she were to write them, because she's the one executing them on the daily. She knows what needs to be happening at the front desk to deliver a great product. So you have to make sure that you have the right people writing those systems, and those people are trained on how to write systems effectively, which takes us back to number 1 and number 2 and number 3, and making sure we do it the right way. So those are the 5 reasons, in my opinion, that your systems are likely not working in your business. Now, if you found this interesting, you want to learn a little bit more, I would highly suggest you get to one of our Cheer Biz accelerators. We are going to be talking about some real tactics on systems and things that you should be doing in your business, as well as very tangible techniques that you can use to systemize really, really important processes in your gym. So you got to make sure you get to one of our Cheer Biz accelerators. They're going to be absolutely amazing, and I cannot wait to be at them. It's always fun to meet amazing gym owners and help them grow their businesses. That is all I have for you guys today. I appreciate you listening. We have seen our listeners go way up, and it means absolutely the world to me. Thank you so much for joining us. And with that, we'll catch you on the next episode.